How can you facilitate a team in defining sprint goals that are both achievable and ambitious? So sprint goals cause a lot of discussion. They cause a lot of problems within teams. It's like, do we really need one? If we do, what can it be? Why can't it just be this list of stuff? And it's a bit more than that. So a team needs a goal. We've got to recognise that because part of the definition of a team is that there is a common goal that they are working towards together. And the sprint goal provides that in the immediate term. So as a team, first of all, you need to help them. Obviously, you're part of that team, but we need to work to have a goal. And that is probably better than 80% of the teams that I work with just having something. And that goal is not a list of things. So it's not we're going to deliver these 12 backlog items. Okay? That's how you intend to deliver the goal. But you're committing to the goal. And this is an important change. What we have in Scrum today is the sprint backlog, the sprint goal, a list of items, and a plan to deliver those items. But most important is that goal. And you want to ensure that everybody's communicating that, not the list of things. Because as you go into the sprint, you're going to start uncovering stuff. And maybe some of the items that you brought in stop being relevant. You found better ways, easier ways, cheaper ways of delivering it. And therefore, you're no longer going to do the item you brought in. You're going to create a new one and do that instead. Okay? So what we've got to remember, first of all, what we've got to bring our team together and recognize is the importance of this goal. Now, how do we get them to decide on what it is if it's not just deliver some stuff? Okay? Actually, I rely on pretty simple questions. Okay? If at the end of the sprint you've only achieved one thing, what is it? Why does it matter? Okay? That why is likely your goal. Okay? So talk to the team. At the end of this, what do you have to have done? Product owners are going to have a good idea what the stakeholders are expecting, what the market is expecting. Developers are going to have a good idea of the more technical side of things. But collectively, they probably know what matters and what matters most right now. And what my role is as the Scrum Master is to bring that conversation out. Have them talk about it, because maybe there's different ideas. And in fact, it's not a maybe, it's more often than not, there are different ideas. And that's good, because options have value. We can talk about different things, weigh them up, decide, are we trying to make happy stakeholders now? Are we trying to make happy developers? Or are we trying to make a happy customer? Right? What is important this iteration, this sprint? Okay? So our job as a Scrum Master is to help them define a goal. But really, we do that not by imposing anything, but by asking questions. What matters? Why does that matter? And in that conversation, you will find a goal that is achievable, right? Because you can break it down into smaller pieces, and a goal may be get started on this feature. We just need to deliver something to demonstrate progress on this capability. And later on, it might be wrap it up, finish it, ready for release to the customer. That is a goal. Okay? We're not saying what precisely we're working on or how we're going to achieve it, but just why it matters. That gives everybody something to aim for. Okay? And it needs to be ambitious. It does, okay? Otherwise it's not inspiring. If they take in a goal and they're like, yeah, we can do that easily, well, how do we push them further? Occasionally, I have had teams where, yeah, we can do that easily, and the answer is actually, that's the most important thing, so fine. But they're going to take on more work. They don't just deliver the goal and then sit around and go to the pub for the rest of the sprint. Right? They're going to take on more work to fill their time. But really, you want something that inspires, that is a call to action that pulls them forwards. So if it is that straightforward, have that discussion. This seems like a quite straightforward goal for us to achieve. It talks absolutely to the why behind what we're doing. But is there a bigger one? Can we pursue something greater? Okay. Why does this matter? I've had people with sprint goals. Some of my favorites, I had one team, keep the client happy. I'm not going to say who the client was. I'm not going to say who the team were. But if they see it, they'll know who they are. That was their goal. For this sprint, what we are trying to do is keep that key client a client. So what are we going to do? Whatever it takes to keep them signed up. Huh? And people went, oh, well, that could be all sorts of different things. It could. And now you've got 2 weeks to work out what the best answer you can find is to that. Right? How you do it, nobody really cared. What they did care about all the way up to the exec level was at the end of that sprint, they still had the customer. Right? That's a great example. It gives space for the team to play, to learn, to grow, to change their mind as they're going through that learning and they're growing. Another example, I worked with a team in the finance world and they kicked off, brand new team working in this bank for the first time, all very experienced at working in the banking world, and their goal was get something done. And done to them meant into production. Okay. Their first sprint, they took in, I can't remember, 10, 12 things into the sprint, and they just played a game of we can't do that. So they'd start working on the first one and discover that the system that they were meant to have access to, they didn't. Or they didn't have authorization, or ports weren't set up, or all these technical reasons that they couldn't do their job. Until they got to an item, and they went through a lot of stuff because they were very quickly finding out we can't do that because we can't find it. They took in a huge amount of work that they couldn't deliver. They found one that they got working. All the technical setup was in place. They had the usernames and passwords. They had the authorization to call the services and get the answer. It was the least inspiring sprint review I've ever been in because they said, we took in all of these things and we delivered this. And all it does is if we click this button, is it talks through all these systems and then it returns and look, there's a 200 on the screen. That's it. And people went, oh, and I said, but, and it's an important one. And I said, what we learned was this system, this system, this system, this system, that we were told already that would be there in place for us to work with, weren't. And we can't do anything until they are resolved. Right? That goal gave them the ability to deliver. The flexibility of focusing on the goal gave them the ability to cast around and find stuff out. And they used it, as they knew, as a learning opportunity for what had actually been done off the long list of things they had been done. That's what we want to do, is we want to create something that is achievable. The nature of a goal is it's likely achievable. It's unlikely to be one way to solve a problem. There's going to be many. You want to keep that vagueness because stuff happens. People are going to start working and they're going to uncover problems or challenges or opportunities. And you want to be able to seize the right ones. You want to be able to take the right actions to mitigate the issues that you uncover. And if you are stuck to just a list of things to deliver, you can't do that. So it's going to be achievable. That's the nature of the goals that we work towards. And you want it to be ambitious. I will let you off. If push comes to shove, you say, but if we deliver this, that's what matters. Good, great. Is it going to be an easy sprint? Of course not. They'll pull in more work. But maybe the goal can be achieved with the minimum of fuss. Okay, it happens. So as a Scrum Master, when you are facilitating that team, you're getting them thinking about the sprint goal. Remind them of the purpose. Okay? Always, if they don't get it in their bones, take that opportunity just to remind them, this is the thing that we're saying we're going to deliver. Why, let's be honest, why anybody should pay the bill for the next sprint? What matters? So, what matters? Why should they pay? Let's talk about that.